So it sounds completely made up, but it is true.
Of course
There
it
are
is.
ants that will literally rupture their own bodies and release a sticky toxic substance onto predators.
I do have. I gotta find my. I don't know where my rules are, but I'll find them by the time you're done with the question.
All
Okay.
right, ready?
They're over here
Go.
somewhere. I got some of them here. Here we go.
All right, it's a start.
Octopuses or octopi, depending on your preference, can have a dominant arm they prefer to use.
I would buy that.
And they got lots of choices. Yeah, I could see that.
I've always
Nature's
wanted one,
weird.
by the way.
You've always wanted an octopus or an
Yes.
arm?
Well, I have enough arms for now, anyways.
Okay.
I could use a couple more arms.
But no, I've always wanted an octopus. I used to have the aquariums.
Yeah.
But you gotta like really make sure that those suckers are well contained,
Oh, yeah.
because they'll open jars and open lids, and next thing you know, they're crawling across your living room. And yeah,
Do you remember a few years back during one of the hurricanes in Florida?
coming up the sewers.
Yeah, one came up through the sewers onto like the 4th floor of a parking garage.
Yeah, they're pretty nuts. They're incredibly intelligent, probably alien. You know, we talk about the flying saucers and whatnot that are coming out of the oceans. Has anybody considered that it's the octopi?
That's an interesting theory. We might
It
have to
might
talk
be.
about that on a future show.
They are weird.
They're weird, incredibly intelligent, and probably not of this earth. But I would buy that they have one that they favor. That would not surprise me. You, Michael?
Yeah. It would not surprise me either. I'd say that's true. I mean, it's weird and not of this world. Also, that could apply to cats.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Ellie is right pod. Whenever she'll go at me, the first thing she's gonna do is she's gonna bat at me with her right paw. She's right pod.
Yep.
Absolutely. So are we locked in at true?
Yes.
All right. Tell us we're wrong.
It is true.
Okay, cool.
It feels weirdly relatable because it's true. Octopuses or octopi prefer certain arms.
Yeah.
Bless
Bless
you.
you.
Kind of like how humans are right or left-handed. They'll consistently reach for things with the same arm over and over again, which means even with 8 options, they still pick a favorite. It's been observed in lab studies. It's linked to their complex nervous system. Each arm has semi-independent controls. And yeah, they've studied their behavior patterns, and they have one that they prefer.
Ashley says in the chat that Sabrina is left pod.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah.
You know, now that I think
A
about
literal
it,
southpaw since she's in Georgia.
Yeah.
I think when I think about it now, I think Freya is right pod as well. Not that I mean, I've seen her do stuff like this with the left, but a lot of the time it's her right. You know, it's funny now that I kind of think about it.
Everybody's going to be watching their animals tonight, trying to figure it out.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Cool. 1 for 1. Number 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go.
Scientists have discovered something that actually travels faster than the speed of light.
I think that would make bigger news because it would like break all of the laws of physics, which need to be broken anyways. But well, let's talk this out for a minute. We know that through quantum mechanics that the change in a particle in one place affects it in another in like real time, despite their distances. So if we're talking about that, that would be faster than the speed of light.
Yeah, quantum
it's that quantum
theory.
Entanglement.
Yeah, and I've seen a number of theories that yes, indeed, it is possible under certain circumstances to go faster than light or whatever, but That's theory. Beth's talking about in reality. So I would say false, even though, yeah, a lot of theories suggest that it's indeed true, but, as of the knowledge we have now, which is obviously very limited, probably false is what I would say.
I'm going to go with true, and I'm going to base my true answer on the idea of information passing through quantum entanglement, which is real time regardless of distance.
Yeah.
So I'll go with true. So I think we're split on this one, Michael?
Yes.
All right, who's right?
Michael is right.
Okay.
But this has a couple of layers. So there have been recent findings that there are things that appear to move faster than light. For example, patterns, shadows, or actual points of darkness within a light wave. But it's not like darkness isn't actually something. So it's not anything physical that's actually breaking that speed limit. So, Einstein is still on top and everybody can relax about that. But the optical effect is very real. It's luminal effects where it affects visual patterns, not physical objects. Like I said, shadows, there's some wave interference patterns. And yeah, a lot of people think it's possible, but it hasn't fully happened yet.
Well, what I was talking about wasn't the physical movement of anything either. It's
Right.
the movement of information.
No, I get
So,
that. But based on
yeah.
the question was, scientists have discovered something that actually travels faster
The
than the
whole
speed
thing
of light.
word. Well, information is a thing.
Information is a thing. I will give you that.
So I don't know. I guess it depends on the interpretation of the question, but I'll take my wrong answer, even though it might be right. But that's
I mean, yeah, mine was just taking the question literally, but yeah, I mean, I think certainly it is very much possible, and yeah, quantum entanglement certainly would qualify as being faster than light, but yeah. We'll figure one day we're going to have a more concrete answer on this, but
well, that'll be in a few months when they announce the aliens. Then we'll know everything.
That's true. I still thought it was interesting.
The octopi will tell us.
Yes, they will. They know
that they've been watching these things and clocking them.
Yeah.
Even if it is just darkness or shadow. Still interesting.
I agree. Number 3?
Yeah.
Go.
Sea otters have built-in pockets, quote unquote, in their skin where they store tools and food.
So like a kangaroo.
Otters pulling out screwdrivers.
I could see that with like beavers or something building dams. They pull out a saw or hammer and nails. But otters build dams too?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You otter know.
Probably not. I don't know. Well, I mean, there's precedent for it in nature, so maybe.
Again, I'm going to go back to nature is weird. It's a rule.
That's true.
So, and this is weird. It's not the weirdest thing we've heard here by far, but still weird. Yeah, I believe it.
I'm kind of curious what constitutes a tool for them.
Well, yeah.
I mean, is it like a bone or do they have a contract with Craftsman?
Yeah. Take out a belt sander. I mean, what's going on?
Uh-huh. Do they just do they raid villages and like pick up random things?
Yeah, you're going to get an otter for your shop, Dan? I mean,
do you find the keys to a Volkswagen Scirocco?
Chevy Nova.
These are the questions.
Right next to a butterscotch.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Well, because you said food too.
I know.
So yeah, butterscotch, some black licorice.
Ugh.
Mm.
Otters have
Shriveled
terrible
up
taste. apparently.
prune. Huh.
And one random after dinner mint.
Yes. I'm gonna go with true.
Yeah, I will agree. I say true as well because
All right.
nature's weird.
True?
Yes, it is true.
Yay.
And nature is
Yay.
weird. So, sea otters have loose skin under their arms that folds and forms into a pouch, and they use it to store rocks, food, and tools while they swim. So, some of them even have favorite tools.
So
like
otters are on GLP-1s is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some of them have favorite tools, like a favorite rock that they keep and they use over and over. They're actually kind of genius because they'll use the rocks to break open other seafood and whatnot to eat it or to solve problems or whatever. But yeah, they'll just like if they want into like a clam, for example, they'll just start beating it with a rock until they open it.
All right.
Yeah.
The low tech way, but yeah.
But they're one of the few animals that's known to consistently use things in their environment as a tool.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that
I
one was
like
kind
that.
of interesting.
Yeah, very cool.
All right. Number 4.
Yes.
Go ahead.
During the Salem witch trials, people accused of witchcraft were burned at the stake. Yes, I know we went from otters to Salem witchcraft, but that's what we do here.
People who were accused of witchcraft were burned at the stake. No. False. Why false? Because it's too easy for it to be true. I don't think they were accused of witchcraft. I think they were accused of other things, if I recall correctly. But direct witchcraft, I don't think so.
Okay, what do you think, Michael?
I thought, I mean, my recollection of this is that it's true. That sometimes these questions gaslight me, and then I go,
That's the whole
I
point.
remember that being true. I that was such a, I remember this for sure. But, they'll say, well, they weren't actually, burned at the stake. They were beaten to death and then thrown into a fire, or, like, like it's still like technically burned, just not that way, or, it's one of those things. So, but I mean, I know the Salem witch trial. I know there were people burned.
It wasn't that they were burned at the stake. It was that they had their stakes burned.
They
were condemned to burned food for the rest of their
to eat
existence.
well done steak.
Oh, see,
Yes.
I thought you meant they were accused
Okay,
of
time out.
crimes.
The Kaz Man. Good evening. It has been so long since we've seen you. Welcome back. I'm good now.
Okay.
Kaz is back.
Oh, Kaz, man. Yeah, nice to see Kaz.
Good to see you.
It has been a while.
Yes. All right. Anyways, sorry.
I thought you were going to say they were accused of culinary crimes.
Culinary crimes, right? Yeah.
You've been accused of putting pineapple on pizza.
Yep. No, this has to be false. Because being true would be too obvious.
I mean, I agree with you, Dan, but I'm gonna be the test case. I'm gonna be the guinea pig and go with true because I really do think it's true. But I mean, your logic is very sound, but I'll go with true.
All right.
Okay. It is false,
Yeah.
but I will agree with you, Michael. Most people think it's actually true. So, and it's not one of those gotcha things. No one in Salem from the witch trials was ever burned at the stake. The people who were executed were hanged. Burning was used in Europe, but never in Salem. So the image that most people have in their heads is wrong location, wrong method. And surprisingly, as I was doing my research, there were only 19 people that were hanged. And from what I remember in school, it was made out to be a much larger thing.
Well, yeah,
than that.
thousands.
Yeah,
I knew the number was small. But I really thought that there, and maybe I am confusing what I heard because I know in Europe, yeah, I remember hearing that too. So I guess I assume that that's what happened there. I don't know. It's one of those things where you hear about stuff and then you just kind of confuse it with everything else.
And they weren't even all women, which is
Yes.
how most people remember it. It was 17 women and 5 men that were actually hanged.
Kaz, pineapple on pizza equals Italian death penalty. Nice.
That's right.
Yeah. Is it the Joan of Arc thing? Do we just picture Miss of Arc and see her burned at the stake, and then we apply that to everybody else?
I don't know, but I feel like even like if you'll see like, you know, Halloween shirts and stuff like that that'll reference like Salem and the witches and all that kind of stuff, and I feel like the majority of it still kind of has that false narrative around it.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those things that people either learn wrong to begin with, or it just evolves in your head. I don't know if it's really a Mandela effect type thing, but it's definitely interesting because, again, in my brain, I was like, yeah, they were burned at the stake and there were hundreds of them. No, that's not what happened.
So much of what we're taught for history in school is just
garbage.
Yeah, absolutely garbage. Alrighty, number 5.
Yeah.
All right.
If you're ready.
Yeah, go.
There is a species of ant that can intentionally explode itself as a defense mechanism.
Well, weren't we on a bug the other day that had like a blowtorch in it or something? Wasn't that
like a beetle or something? Or
yeah, it was a beetle that would like fry your ass if you got
it could flash fry a buffalo in 40 seconds.
Then there was the shrimp with
40
the punch.
seconds. I want to know.
And then we also talked about ants that farmed other things and milked them.
Oh yes, the milking of the aphids. The aphid milk.
Yes.
But this is a question about ants that intentionally explode themselves as a defense mechanism.
They're like the little goblin guys in Warcraft 2.
Well, that's probably what they're based on.
We've got explosives. Kaboom! The dwarves love blowing things up. Bombs are great.
The one from Starship Troopers. It's a bad world. It's a bug world. Oh.
Again, this falls into nature is weird, but is nature that weird? How come I've never heard of this?
Well, some things are just government secrets. This is probably recently declassified.
Yeah.
I feel like this has to be true because ants are assholes, and this sounds like something they would do. This definitely sounds like something they would do.
Send in the explosive ants. All right. Yeah, no, it sounds very true. I mean, ants are like the worst. I mean, they are assholes. They're the biggest of the assholes in the bug community. Fire ants in particular, but now we found something worse than fire ants.
Mm-hmm. Bomb ants.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I say it's true. Not just because nature's weird, but because, yes, Dan's, maybe this will have to be a rule to add of anything about ants. Ants are assholes. And so, yeah. So, if you've learned nothing else from this show tonight, and most of you probably already knew this, but if you didn't, now you know. And they're smart. And that's the other thing about ants is, people don't understand this, but they are very smart. Michelle has been battling the ants in the yard for years. She'll go to spray, to pesticide. Here, they move over to the front yard. Then she goes at them in the front. They go to the back. They find a new place to set up. Every time she finds that place, they just, all million of them, they move to another place, but they stay in the same area because, yep, dicks.
At the other house, we had issues with ants, and we used to call it the ant-pocalypse.
Yes. Hated those things.
So did you guys lock in an answer
I
anywhere
believe
in
we're
there?
both true, yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay. So it sounds completely made up, but it is true.
Of course
There
it
are
is.
ants that will literally rupture their own bodies and release a sticky toxic substance onto predators. It's a last resort defense mechanism. They sacrifice themselves to protect the colony. So yes, some ants don't bite, they actually explode. If you want more of the technical information, the genus is called Colobopsis. I'm positive on that one. They're found in Southeast Asia. They contract
There's a
muscles.
song by Hanson.
I know. They contract muscles to rupture their own bodies and then release that toxic secretion. And it's actually considered a form of suicidal altruism in
Jihadi ants.
yeah. Yeah.
Kaz, you need to show up more. You're on a roll. Oh, man. That doesn't surprise me, though. Nature's got some weird stuff going on.
I'm telling you.
A rooster, for example, will fight to the death to protect its women while the women escape whatever the predator is. So there are, countless examples of different life forms that will sacrifice themselves for the greater good.
And then we know about things like Mike the headless chicken.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he has to do with these ants unless he ate one and that was his demise. But
it could have been. No, it wasn't. But I was just more on the nature is weird thing.
Yeah. And that chicken, as we learned, lived for 85 years afterwards. And
it was like 18 months or something.
It lived
crazy.
longer without its head than it would have with it.
Yeah. It wanted to hold on to those 11 herbs and spices, that is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And otters can make pouches to hold their favorite little rocks.
That's just because they're on GLP-1, so they have extra skin.
And octopi have a favorite arm.
Mm-hmm. We've learned a lot tonight.
And they will eventually conquer us all.
Oh, I think that's a given.
So I made a connection. I hadn't thought of this before, but the Salem witch trials, they should have just brought in the explosive ants. That could have been interesting.
Weren't those the women that got murdered, the explosive ants, because they were acting out?
I get it, ants.
Aha.
Almost like a Handmaid's Tale tie-in right there.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching. In the Blind is a news show for Mike and me, and we'd really love it if you could hit the subscribe button, do a thumbs up, leave a comment. All of those things really help this channel get found by other people, so we'd really appreciate the support. Thanks so much.